When I first cycled through the pictures of the new game Minute of Islands, I assumed that it was going to be a light-hearted adventure starring a young girl in a long yellow dress bouncing between cartoony islands. Boy, was I wrong. Minute of Islands is a game specifically designed to bum you out. It's slow, downbeat, and introspective, putting you in the head of a character who is definitely going through something. At the same time, it's a fascinating, gorgeous, and deeply personal journey that is surprisingly poignant in a time where we're still reeling from a pandemic. It may not be the escapist entertainment you crave right now, but I'm here to tell you that this is the perfect time to play the newest release from Fizbin. Minute of Islands throws us into a fantasy world controlled by 4 giant brothers who turn the gears to keep everything running. As they do the hard work, a normal-sized girl named Mo is left to do all the menial tasks. She cleans up, maintains the brothers, and uses her Omni-Switch staff to fix all the mechanical problems that may arise. She has an important job that puts all the weight on her shoulders and isolates her from the rest of the world. 2 things that are clearly taking a toll on the poor girl's fragile mental health. We pick up with Mo on one of the worst days of her life. The 4 giant brothers have all stopped reacting, allowing a toxic, airborne fungus to spread throughout the islands and kill anything in its path. In order to save her sister, grandmother, friends, and anybody else living on the islands, Mo knows that she will, once again, need to risk her own health in order to fix the machinery, get the blood flowing, and hopefully get the brothers back to work, at least for a little while longer. All this is happening as Mo is having what could best be described as an existential crisis. She knows that the giants aren't going to live forever, and somebody's going to need to take over those everyday tasks when she's gone. This is a game about dealing with the trauma and seeing the effect that it has on the people around her. And while you may not live in a fantasy world controlled by 4 giant brothers, the emotional themes that the game tackles are universal. There's a metaphor going on here that can easily be applied to the real world, which is what ends up making Minute of Islands so devastating. Now, you may have noticed that I've spent a whole lot more time talking about the story than the gameplay. Well, there's a reason for that. This is primarily a 2D puzzle platformer, which translates to a game where Mo walks around beautifully drawn levels, looking for different paths, opening up closed doors, pushing big objects, and using her Omni-Switch staff to restart the various generators. She runs and jumps and, well, that's about it. The challenge will often come from navigating the surprisingly complex islands. There are platforms, paths, ladders, ledges, and elevators all over the place. It's easy to get lost just trying to find the next generator or reroute the power. As a puzzler, I'd say there's enough to make the game interesting to play. However, that's really not the draw of Minute of Islands. Solving the mechanical problems almost feels secondary to reminiscing about the past or dealing with the family drama. It may have platforms to jump on and a world to save, but this is a game that is more interested in what Mo is going through. This is about the expectation she puts on herself, the burden of responsibility, the way her choices have impacted those closest to her. She is clearly not in a good place in this game, and our understanding only grows and deepens the more that we learn about her and the world that she lives in. Now, I think it's fair to say that the world that we're seeing matches how Mo is feeling. It's messy, chaotic, out of balance, and kind of hard to navigate. There's also a dead whale rotting outside her front door, which should really tell you everything that you need to know about where this game is coming from. All this comes to life with stunning, hand-drawn graphics that make it look like a morbid picture book. At the same time, it's a harsh and ugly world that I didn't actually want to be in. I always felt a bit dirty as I explored the different islands, which is a testament to how effective the art style really is. This is a great looking game that really sucks us into its dreary world, for better or worse. If there's anything about the game that left me cold, it's the repetitive jobs. There's just a lot of Mo going around and doing the same thing from island to island, and the lack of variety started to get to me after a while. That said, I suspect all this is on purpose. I mean, we're getting a small glimpse into the thankless tasks that Mo is responsible for, so we can only imagine how monotonous the job is over a lifetime. You know, sometimes saving the world is more about restarting a bunch of generators than fighting a big bad guy. Still, a little more variety to the puzzles and tasks would have kept the middle chunk of the game a little bit more engaging. I think it's fair to say that Minute of Islands is not gonna be for everybody. This is not a lighthearted 2D platformer about island hopping, but rather an introspective examination of a girl who is definitely going through something dramatic. The visuals, although gorgeously drawn and bursting with personality, are morose and filled with despair. The art style perfectly matches the complicated emotions conveyed through the well-written narration and deliberately paced quest. The only downside is that the puzzles and gameplay tend to take a backseat to the story, which ends up being the main reason to set sail on this devastating adventure. It may be slow, repetitive, and yeah, a little depressing, but Minute of Islands is the kind of game that's gonna stick with you for years to come. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now, here's the question I have for you. What is the worst video game world of all time? I'm gonna go ahead and let you define worst, because I have a hunch it might mean different things to different people. I can't wait to see your picks in the comments below. Oh, hey, before I forget, did you know that Minute of Islands comes to us from the same people who made that Say No More game earlier this year? Man, talk about a tonal shift. In other news, look for a video about Game Over to drop on Sunday. Not a Game Over episode, just a video about Game Over. It'll make sense on Sunday. Promise. While you wait for that, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,